Hi, this is Angela. Today I'd like to show you how you can turn a decorative stitch on your Bernina machine into a heavier looking decorative stitch. Today I'm using my Bernina 790 and I'll use the Stitch Designer to transform stitch number 657 into a triple stitch. The thread that I'm using is R-Fill 50 weight and I have foot 20C on the machine as well as my 9mm stitch plate. Stitch Designer can be found on the Bernina 790, the Bernina 790 Plus, the Bernina 880, and the Bernina 880 Plus. I'm going to turn my camera now to the sewing machine screen so that I can show you how I transform that stitch. You'll see that I've already brought up stitch number 657, and now I want to activate Stitch Designer so that I can modify it. Stitch Designer icon is located right here. Touch your icon, the screen will change. You'll see to the left of the screen, we see the stitch if it would be sewn out in its entirety, and also right above that area, we find an undo button. To the right of the screen are different things that we can do to transform the stitch. What I often find myself making the mistake on is touching the triple straight stitch, only to find that it's only transform the stitch in one area. This little portion here, that's the only part that is dark. So when I look at my continuous stitch out, I can see again on it, there's only one portion that it's going to be a little bit heavier. So that's not really what I was going after. So I'm going to touch the undo button. And if I want to choose all of the stitch, I need to tell the sewing machine that. To be able to tell it what portions I wish to work with, I will touch the selection screen here, and you'll see that the part that was selected when I started is where it selected just a particular stitch. That's why we got just this segment and not all of the design. The furthest left selection choice we have there, it would allow me to select all of it, and this center one would allow me to pick from a particular portion forward. Say if I wanted to go from the middle of the design on to the end of the design, we could do just that part bold if we wanted to. Since we want to do all of it bold, I'm going to choose the first selection. You'll see that the screen has turned blue, a darker blue line representing the stitches instead of that white one. It hasn't turned it into a triple stitch yet, but it is telling me that it recognizes I want to work with the whole stitch. To turn it into a triple stitch, I will now touch the triple stitch icon, and that blue line even became a little bit bolder. In the continuous stitch out portion, I see it as well as bold. How can I be sure before I stitch it out that it is a triple stitch? If we'll touch the icon that looks like an arrow pointing to the right, right below the triple stitch icon, this is a play button. So it'll simulate on the screen for us how the stitch will play out. You can see as we're looking at it that it's sewing each segment of the stitch 3 times. And so we can tell from that that we have transformed this into a triple stitch. I always like to do a sample before I would do this on my real project. So at this point we will touch confirm. We will make sure that we have a little bit of stabilizer behind our fabric. Not sure if you can see this, but up here at the top, this is a little bit of a tearaway stabilizer, just to give the fabric a little bit more support as we're stitching this. And again, I used my Bernina foot number 20C and a 9mm stitch plate. And I think this really adds a lot of importance to the stitch. It makes it stand up and be a bit bolder, and can really add a different look to your project. If you like the video, I hope that you'll give it a like, and if you tried this out on your Bernina machine, please snap a picture of your results and post in the comments below. We'd love to see them.